Get ready for FanFlow, the ultimate way to experience live music. FanFlow, you become a part of the show. Connect and share with fellow fans who love the music as much as you. Control what you hear, control what you see, and record it so you can relive those amazing performances wherever and whenever you want. Before the show, you decide the playlist and interact with the venue. During the show, you share your experience, buy what you're hearing, and hear what you want. FanFlow gives you the superpowers you wish you could have at a live performance so you become a part of the experience and connect with your favorite performers.
Welcome to Fist Live on this wonderful Sunday afternoon. I am Adam Lionfist Rorda. It's like a lion roars. Duh. Anyways, we have a great show ahead of us, and I am just here to kind of shoot this shit, if there's no better phrase. I am going to go ahead and go with that one, because there is none. None better. So, I'm waiting on a guest to call in. He was supposed to call in a little while ago due to it being a highly confidential situation and wanting to avoid getting in trouble. I'm sure he's kind of having some second thoughts on calling in, which is okay. It's okay. But today's subject was going to be all about federal marijuana legalization and usage of marijuana within the military communities. It does happen quite a bit. I've known this myself. I tried to go into the military at one point in time. Couldn't. And the reason I tried to go in, actually, just a little bit about myself, and I share a lot of dirt on myself. A lot of people tell me not to. But back in college, actually, I had gotten in trouble, and I was given the option to either go ahead and be a rat or go ahead and join the military, and so I did, and I got in trouble with marijuana. I had it was just under federal amounts, but part of my plea bargain was to go ahead and go into the military. So I went ahead and chose the military, and just because of that, I was out smoking and doing all this stuff still at that point in time. I was an idiot thinking it was all okay, which in my mind, it is okay. You should be able to smoke. Now, going into the military is a different story. You're going to be holding guns and doing stuff there. I'm not sure I agree with that necessarily, but to each their own. Everybody has their own beliefs. I was going to have this gentleman on. We're definitely going to keep it confidential the whole time. Hopefully he still calls in, but what it boils down to with the world of the military is everybody's dealing with, you've got ex-military, a lot of them, that are dealing with PTSD and depression and anxiety, just coming out of war, trying to put themselves back into society and just to rearrange their lives and their mindset, and being able to come to the terms of the civilian life, which would be a hard adjustment. Myself, I got booted out of the military before even being considered actually enlisted. It all kind of went hand in hand, and in a lot of ways I'm thankful, because otherwise I would have been in Afghanistan or Iraq and doing stuff alongside one of these confidential informants I was just going to have on. Not a true CI, but in the sense of opening up about military usage and different VA items that are really on the ticket that really drive a lot of these vets specifically to the point of smoking. Now, I do see where there's benefits with marijuana. A lot of people are now using marijuana to deal with PTSD, and I believe there was some legislation recently that pretty much made it okay and realistic for PTSD sufferers and veterans specifically to be able to utilize marijuana for coping. And I think that's one of the first major steps in getting it federally legalized, not just decriminalized, but legalized. I think we're getting there. I think it's going to happen one way or another. Federal legalization would be a good thing, in my opinion. Now, decriminalizing it is one thing, but that's a whole different level. I would just like to see it legalized at this point, to where we can go ahead and smoke it if we need to, at least recreationally. I see no harm in it. That will bring me to another subject. We'll talk about it another day. But there is something going on. We've got this war on drugs that's just been re-upped recently, and I think it's very important that the majority of us get behind the idea of federal legalization of marijuana at this point, because very specifically because the war on drugs is going to just drive a whole bunch of people into prisons over marijuana, which is, I think most people have the idea and the are seeing the reality that marijuana is not quite as dangerous as alcohol. It's not quite as dangerous as smoking cigarettes. I mean, some would say it is. There's a lot of tar. There's a lot of carcinogens in marijuana, and if we end up legalizing it, most likely we're going to have a lot of corporate takeover in the world of marijuana, and we're already starting to see that in California with the California legislation recently that passed. We're going to be seeing a lot of corporate takeover, and that's something that we're just going to have to deal with. So there's going to end up being a lot of chemicals and stuff in the joints and in the marijuana if you just purchase it not as a joint but as just the plant or the buds or whatever you want to be calling it. Now, I am a smoker. I do it medicinally. I myself deal with what I like to call founder's depression and anxiety quite a bit, so I do smoke. I smoke a little bit every day, and it my nerves. It keeps me level-headed, and I don't utilize it to smoke all day every day. I don't sit there and use it even recreationally. I'm not a recreational smoker most of the time. Sometimes I do, but it has I don't know. For me personally, I can sit here and smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke, and I don't ever get to the point of inebriation where I'm dealing with not knowing what's going on or where I'm at. Me personally, I don't ever deal with that. I'm not one of these people where it affects me so adversely that I don't realize what's going on. Now, I remember the first time I smoked some, and this was back in high school. Yeah, I felt pretty much drunk, and actually I was seeing these white flashes. But that was the first time. Ever since then, I've been able to fully comprehend what I'm doing. I've never made a stupid mistake while smoking marijuana. There's no reason we shouldn't be legalizing it, because majority of people who are smoking it are going to be that way, where they need it for anxiety or depression, and there's a lot of medications. Like me personally, I am not able to take anti-anxiety medications without feeling all loopy, without feeling all crazy. It really affects me adversely, whereas when I smoke, I don't feel loopy. It just relaxes me, and it calms my nerves, and it just levels me out. Now, is there a true science behind this? Yeah, there's some science out there. Some of it, I would call it pseudoscience, but it helps me. It really helps me in comparison to dealing with all of the medications out there that just really make me way out there. I don't even know my own name half the time. There's one medication I took for depression called Zoloft, and that was supposed to be one of the safest, least likely to do anything. And when I was taking Zoloft, it made me feel like I was just like the center of this black hole, and I felt like the whole world was collapsing in on me. And marijuana doesn't do that to me. Marijuana just calms me down. Now, everybody has their own. There's a lot of science out there that it proves that it helps with killing pain, and for painkiller, it definitely would be a lot better, and it beats out a lot of different painkillers out there. And when we're talking about T3 or Tylenol 3, morphine, and any of the items like that, marijuana in comparison is going to be a lot less dangerous. Now, again, there's the tars and some long-term effects that are there, but all these other medications that are on the shelves, it's totally not as safe. Believe it or not, majority of these medications come with the warning right on the warning label. Possible side effect is worse depression. Possible side effect, death, kidney failure. A lot of these medications are just as dangerous, actually much more dangerous. And there is science to prove that and back it up. Just Google marijuana if you want to, if you don't really know. But at this point, when it comes to federal legalization, we're actually taking some steps right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Congress for bills being presented with federal legalization of marijuana, at least medicinally. Some of them are trying recreationally. We have a lot of powers that be, or a lot of the powers that be are actually going ahead and pushing forward. This may be the time to do it. I am a strong advocate for federal legalization at this point. If we're going to be doing this war on drugs, we need to be taking marijuana into the picture. It is not a Schedule 3 drug. It's not a Schedule 2 drug. It's not even a drug. Get over it. If you want to consider it a medicine, that's fine. But, if tobacco and alcohol are really not going to be considered much for drugs, kind of a little bit of a controlled substance to where taxation and age requirements are put into place. If we do that with marijuana, our economy, if we do the same thing with marijuana that we do with cigarettes or alcohol, and I would say alcohol, we should not be any more strict than alcohol, to be realistic about it. If we're going to do something along the same lines and add a consumption tax to marijuana, we will see a boosted economy. It has been proven in both Washington and Colorado and a couple other states at this point. Economies are just going crazy if marijuana is tied in, and we're talking about governments and programs, education systems. In Colorado, they have a lot of the money, the taxes go to the school systems. That's a idea. Why don't we do that federally? We could kill a lot of our economic problems and issues that we have, and we could fund a lot of programs, and there would be a lot less fighting about things, a lot less infighting, and we'd be able to solve a lot more problems. Marijuana is not something that's going to cause you to go out and eat somebody's face off. Marijuana is not going to go out and make you kill somebody. It just isn't. Marijuana does not change your thought process in that way. Now, does it calm you down? Yes. Does it really just help out with killing pain? Yes. So obviously there's a chemical reaction going on. So some people would consider it a drug just because of that. And I'm not going to completely disagree, but it's not worth the battle that is going on. There's a lot of people going into the prison systems here that shouldn't be for nonviolent crimes, and they're sitting here filling up stuff, living off the taxpayer's dollar, and they're just having a marijuana cigarette. They're having a joint, and that lands them in prison because of the 3 strike rules. Are you kidding me? And then half the time, I'm hearing stories about these men and women that are going to prison over what would be misdemeanor levels, but they're tagging on felony charges with it for distribution when these people didn't even have enough for it to be distributed. And it's usually skin colors involved, which really bothers me. That really is not okay. That tells me that we have a fundamental issue here in the United States, and the marijuana legislation, current marijuana legislation, has zilch, nothing, nada, to do, has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with marijuana being harmful. Has everything to do with an agenda. And we need to get away from this agenda, and we need to start pushing just a better idea, a better concept for economics, for medicine, for even recreation. Alcohol is horrible. I've seen it destroy so many lives. I have seen marijuana only destroy lives because of prison. Only because of prison. I have never seen it destroy a life for any other reason. I've never seen somebody overdose from marijuana. I do see people overdose from alcohol and get alcohol poisoning, and I've known a few people have died from that. It's a horrible, horrible thing. Yet here we are sitting here legislating against marijuana usage, against marijuana possession, against marijuana growing, when all of these things can bring us a better economy, chilled out people, especially in times like these when we're dealing with a political world that we are. Everything's tense internationally. Everything is tense nationally and domestically. I don't understand why we're not all pushing more for marijuana legalization on a federal level. Now, it is happening in, I believe it was Virginia alone as well. They were pushing for legalization, full legalization in a didn't think that would happen, and they were pushing for it. It was just dropped because the guy who was putting the bill or presenting the bill, he went ahead and dropped it because he kind of thought this wasn't the time. My guess is some lobbyists got in there and got involved. Boys and girls, we need to lobby for marijuana. In my opinion, there's absolutely no reason whatsoever that we shouldn't be lobbying for marijuana on a federal level. We should all be pitching our resources in together, getting behind it, and making it happen. Now, one of the huge aspects that I was going to talk about today was, again, this whole military PTSD sufferers. You've got veterans out there who've put their lives on the line, and they have to deal with these crazy memories, and they come back and they haunt them, and it's stuff that they don't want to have to deal with. Now, they went out to serve our country for whatever reason, whether you agree with it or not, they did, and they put their asses on the line for you and for me. And there's absolutely no reason we shouldn't be helping out with them. And right now, with funding and the way it is, we're totally not doing that. And the easiest, quickest approach that we could take is to go ahead and give them marijuana, let them smoke it, or take their edibles, or do whatever. They don't even need to smoke it. Come on. Marijuana legalization does not just include smoking. So for those of you out there who think everybody's out there getting high, there are other ways to do it. CBD oil, or the cannabinoid oils, that totally safe. And there's ways for people to get this stuff in their system and not be totally affected in an adverse way. Now, even some of the most Republican states, or Republican right now, are starting to legalize a lot of things and slowly make it happen. So I know it's happening, and we're not that far off from it being federally legalized, but there's a lot of restrictions that are being thrown on there 100% for corporate welfare reasons, to be able to make sure that the well-being of the corporations are protected, so that the big corporations can still make their money. And we're really blind, and we're really deaf as a society to everything that's going on here. Now, marijuana is not that big of a deal. It's a lot safer and it has a lot more potential than alcohol or cigarettes. When we're talking about taxes, when we're talking about health, there's just less danger and more economic value, and a lot more value as a whole, medicinally and societal. It's something that we need to get our heads out of the sand and start standing up for what is right, instead of standing up for what is wrong. When you are anti-marijuana, I'm going to tell you, you're standing up for something that is wrong, because you're standing up for abuse of the prison systems, abuse of the taxpayers' dollars, abuse of everything that you stand for in the world of freedom. Because the majority of people that I know that are anti-marijuana, 100%, are completely oblivious to what is really going on, unless they are part of the corporate structure, the corporate hierarchy that is really raking in the money by the money not being, or by the marijuana not being allowed or legalized. And really, we need to step off a little bit and realize that the money is going to help. It's going to come in a lot more and a lot faster and a lot more efficiently if we legalize marijuana. Now, I know you've got your greedy, power-hungry people that want to sit here and put the money into their own marijuana, and you know, there's a lot of people that skate through the world and politics and follow all the loopholes. They deal with the government directly to keep the legislation in place, and are actually investing in marijuana fields outside of the U.S. So there's something fishy going on here. It really happens. And this isn't even a conspiracy theory. This is a conspiracy. This is what happens. A lot of marijuana investors now are starting to invest domestically because they can. Now there's a lot of regulations there. There's a lot of restrictions that keep people from being able to do it. But it's still possible. There's still ways to do it. There's still ways to make money off it. I highly advise you go ahead and invest in some of the penny stocks out there, marijuana penny stocks. I've done it now for, I started doing it right about the election, this previous election. I started investing in the penny stocks. I can tell you I invested about $150 at that point in time. I'm not going to tell you where I'm at now, but I can tell you I'm a very happy camper because I'm able to make money off it. Now, where am I going to be able to put it at the end of the day? I don't know, but there's ways for me to start moving the money around. There's ways for me to transfer it into other stocks. There's ways for me to go ahead and make it happen so that I can make my money. And that's exactly what I'm going to start doing. Now I'm going to watch it grow a little bit. And I highly advise that we all get out there and start investing in marijuana. If you want to go ahead and have marijuana be legalized, invest in it. Invest in it. It doesn't need to be tons of money, but if each one of us out there goes ahead and invests $50 to $100 into penny stocks for marijuana, believe me, it'll take 10 minutes for lobbyists to switch sides because that's where all the money is. People care about where the money is, and in marijuana, it's available for you to go ahead and invest $50 to $100. Consider it a donation. Even if your stock goes down at the end of the day after everything gets legalized, which it probably wouldn't. That wouldn't make any sense to me. But if you did this, if every single one of us did this, the lobbyists would have no reason to push against it. At that point, they would have to join us. They would have to go ahead and accept or put the money where the money is. They would have to take it and run with it. That's the easiest way to legislate marijuana federally. That's going to be the easiest way to get the now plutocratic government that we have to go ahead and listen, is to put the money there. It's time to put our money where our mouths are. If you are a marijuana advocate, put your money where your mouth is. Invest in marijuana stock. It really is that simple. And there's medicinal companies that you can get invested in. Make sure it's in a state that's about to be like Virginia, great state. If it's a state that's on the border of being legalized, that's where you want to start putting the money. Not just, and I'm not even talking financial reasons. I'm talking about being able to get things legalized. That's what you want to be doing. I can tell you, you've got Virginia, you've got Iowa, you've got a lot of southern states now that have been legalizing or are bringing stuff to legislation. Just Google it. You'll figure it all out. There's a lot of states out there that are getting really close. Some already have partial legislation. For example, we've got Iowa and CBD oils, where it is legal for certain illnesses, and they're starting to open the gates a little bit. They're opening more and more, and it's a good thing because the money's starting to be poured in there. That's why these states are doing this. And with Iowa, I'm from there originally. So those of you who are listening and are not from Iowa and know me from like California or Missouri, I am from Iowa originally. So I follow the politics there quite a bit, try to keep up with what's going on there. I use my Facebook feed, which is a handy dandy notebook for me. I go ahead and keep up to date. And for those of you who don't know, Iowa has a very Republican, I don't want to say base because it bounces back and forth between Republican and Democrat, but the governor that just went to China and is no longer the governor, he had to give this up to be part of Trump's advisory team with China. He's very Republican, and he put a lot of stops out there. Now we've got another, the lieutenant governor has now jumped in, and she, congratulations, being the first woman of Iowa as a governor, she is also very Republican and has a lot of stances that are anti-marijuana. Now, are they anti-CBD? At this point, no, but they're being forced in the state of Iowa to pay attention to the people's needs because they are standing up and they are actually putting their money where their mouths are. That's what we need to be doing all across the country, and we need to do this on a federal level. So if you are in Iowa, look at Virginia. Start putting your money into penny stocks in Virginia marijuana companies. Start doing that. There's a bunch of other states you could really look into. I can't remember. I think it was West Virginia was where I originally invested a lot of my money, and then also down in South Carolina, I do believe. But when you start putting your money into these penny stocks, there's a good chance you're going to make money off it, but forget that because this is not financial advice. I am not a licensed advisor at this point. I have done finance in the past, but I am not a financial advisor. I'm not licensed to give you advice. on that, but I am giving you advice on being able to teaming up with the marijuana advocates, all the advocates for marijuana legalization, being able to make an impact by putting your money where your mouth is. It's as simple as investing in penny stock at this point. That is what will get you the lobbyists to help out. Now, my purpose for saying that marijuana should be legalized is, first and foremost, it's not that dangerous in comparison to all the other drugs and substances out there. You've got alcohol, which is going to be way more dangerous. I don't know the exact numbers on it, but it's way more dangerous than marijuana ever could be. Tobacco is more dangerous than marijuana. Now, some would argue that, but tobacco is because of the additional chemicals put in it. Now, if we can keep the chemicals from being put in marijuana and keep it as organic as possible, we're going to be a lot better off. Marijuana is going to be fine. Now, in today's day and age, when most people, and we've got a lot of these middle-aged suburban house moms and housewives that are sitting here popping Xanax and drinking their wine every night, you are doing more damage to your body than any of these people who are out there smoking a joint or 2 or 3 a day, which for me, that's personally excessive, but whatever, to each their own. It's still less dangerous than what these Xanny bars or whatever we want to call them, the Xanax, the other psychotropics. We're killing ourselves slowly with these medications and sitting here saying that marijuana is a dangerous drug. That makes 0 sense at all. 0 sense. We should be getting behind marijuana because of its capabilities in industry. Really, we can make some oil for cars. I believe personally. Again, this is a personal belief, so call me crazy if you want, but I'm going to throw it out there. We could make energy out of marijuana. Why not? We've been making oils out of it. There's no way that hemp oil has made it along this far and couldn't be utilized as something much more potent and much more powerful when it comes to powering our homes, powering our cars, powering everything else. And now there's still pollution aspects to that, but it will help decrease war. It'll help economies out. So why aren't we focusing on doing things like this? Our economy could be bolstered so much that we could be all pretty much going without issue at all if we just legalized marijuana federally. We'd be able to grow it in most places. You can grow it in your home. You can grow it outside. Boys and girls, when I was in high school, I was an idiot. I did some stupid shit. One of the things I did was had a little marijuana plantations with one of my buddies, and I sold it. I did it. So, yeah, it wasn't that many plants, but we did it, and it wasn't even high quality stuff. But we grew it outside in Iowa, out of all the places in Iowa outside. And, you know, when you have 4 seasons there, you would think that it may not be the best climate for it. Well, it wasn't, but yeah, it worked. And my point is that it's really easy to grow it in comparison to, producing all these anxiety medications. It takes a lot more work, a lot more money, and it takes a lot more time. Have we got it pretty efficient where it's just like zip, 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 zip? Yes. Now, I don't know the exact chemicals in a lot of these pharmaceuticals, but from what I know and from what I understand, a lot of them are actually plant-based from a lot of exotic plants. We do make synthetic versions, but as far as being able to come up with the research, being able to get all the chemical compounds to come together, it takes a lot of time for us to do it accurately, and then we've got to test it on people. And then we're putting everybody in the line of fire, and it's horrible. It's horrible for us to be doing this when all we have to do is look at the impacts of marijuana and what actually the true impacts of marijuana on the brain, true impacts of marijuana on the body, and the true impacts of marijuana on the overall health of a person. Now, when I go to majority of states and look at the board of pharmacologies in each of the individual states out there, and I'm just looking at the information that's there, when a majority of the doctors on these boards are sitting there saying, we should be legalizing this, that's telling me something. The science is there. Let's be a little compassionate for the people out there who are dealing with cancer, who are dealing with chronic pain issues that they cannot help. Let's be compassionate for people that are dealing with anxiety. It is something that is working. And that brings me to another note. And we'll talk about this on another episode, not today. I'm going to do my research a little bit more. But psychedelics, research is starting to show that psychedelics have actually been proven beneficial for depression and anxiety. So we a lot of these things that are illegal right now, that are proven safer than your prescription drugs, we're sitting here looking at the numbers, and they don't make any sense at all, because I see more people going into depression and committing suicide that are taking these antidepressant drugs, that are taking these anti-anxiety medications, and these people are killing themselves. But with marijuana, I'm not really seeing much of that. Does it happen? I'm sure it does with suicide, but it's not because of the marijuana. Marijuana seems to be helping quite a bit more. But, when I see on a pill bottle that it says likelihood of depression increasing is possible, that bothers me a little bit. That bothers me a lot. I've never once smoked and had my depression get worse. I've smoked and had my depression completely disappear, literally in a day. Completely. And then if I don't smoke, which I try to go without smoking, so don't get me wrong, I don't sit here and I'm not a pothead. I don't walk around like Snoop Dogg all day, every day. As fun as that would be, I try not to, for my own lungs. I like to be able to stay in shape. I like to be able to keep up, and I do smoke cigarettes too. And maybe I should start smoking pot instead of cigarettes. What do you think, boys and girls? What do you think? Should I just start smoking pot instead of cigarettes? Nah, I'm not going to become a pothead. Whatever. If you want to, you can. There's no negative connotation to that. I truly am a firm believer, to each their own. Go ahead and smoke a joint, smoke a bowl, take a hit and pass it to your left. Go ahead. Let's just do it. Let's have some fun. But me personally, I like to be as sober-minded as possible, and I know cigarettes aren't really helping me out there with all the chemicals, nasty chemicals that I'm putting in my body. Even I know that marijuana is better than cigarettes, but I'm still sitting here doing it because cigarettes are so I'm gonna drop it, but they're so fucking addictive. My life would be, I don't know, without cigarettes. It's hard for me to imagine what it would be like. Unfortunately, I'm admitting that right now. I've tried to quit a couple times in the last year, and every time I quit, I come back smoking harder and more, and it's ridiculous. I hate tobacco. I hate big tobacco and what it's done to me in my life. Big tobacco, hey, I had to deal with Joe Cool a while back. He's the reason I started smoking. No joke. It was Joe Cool that got me in. Or yeah, I mean, come on. These cigarettes and the advertising out there, they're still pouring tons of money into making everybody, they're targeting teens. They're still targeting teens and preteens even. It is ridiculous what kind of marketing they put into these things, and they're nasty, nasty, nasty. I hate them. I smoke them, but I hate cigarettes. Marijuana, on the other hand, which isn't nearly as nasty, doesn't smell nearly as bad to some people. I love that skunk smell that you get from a nice skunky weed, but marijuana is probably half as bad, if not even less, cigarettes. Yet we have legalized cigarettes, and yet we've put a tax on cigarettes. When less people want to smoke cigarettes than want to smoke marijuana, then why are we doing this? My mind is blown. It's really blown. Let's put our money in the marijuana. Let's tax it. We don't need to tax it to high heaven, but we can tax it a little bit and make a good chunk of change for our economy using marijuana. Economically speaking, it makes the most sense out of anything. It would pull us out of whatever problems we're having right now. We'd be able to fund twice as much of everything, keep it away from the military, keep it in the schools. Let's put it where it needs to be. But let's not make it illegal and act like we're making more money by going ahead and having these operations or operatives outside of the country where we're growing and we're funding them and we're pushing drugs around and then making sure it still comes back into the U.S. and then arresting people for it, putting them in the prison system, making money off of that, and then acting like that's more money than what we would be making if we legalize marijuana. And to you stupid politicians that are doing this stuff where you're putting your money into all these weird conspiracies, which they're not theories. We know they're real. The stuff is out there. When we know that this stuff is real, do the math, you idiots. Put your money into the marijuana and you'll make a lot more money. Exponential amounts of money. Stop being idiots. Pull your heads out of your asses and start putting your money where it should be, where it actually benefits society medicinally and even recreationally. It will chill people out. You're going to have less DUI issues, maybe a few, but you're going to have a lot less because people want to sit at home or just hang out when they smoke. Do I like to party when I'm on marijuana? Absolutely. Do I get all hyped up when I'm smoking marijuana? Absolutely not. It's a party like I want to go hang out with people and shake hands. And most of you legislators out there that are making money off this anti-marijuana legislation, I'm looking at you right now. I'm looking at you and pointing at you right now. You are either an idiot or you're a greedy son of a bitch that needs to seriously pull your head out of your ass because you're going to be run over and plowed over soon. This legalization is coming at you full force. People are going to be doing it. We're starting to realize what's going on. Put your money where it needs to be. Everybody call up your legislators. Let them know. We need to legalize marijuana federally. So don't contact your local legislators. Contact your federal legislators and speak with them. Tell them that we need to see federal legalization. We can decriminalize, and then that's slowly what's been happening anyways, but we need to legalize, fully legalize marijuana. This idea that if it's just under so many ounces or an ounce or whatever, that you don't deserve to go to prison, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And why? I'm telling you exactly why. Because I've seen enough of this racist bullshit that all of you legislators are throwing out there, and I'm calling you out. I'm a conservative, and I'm calling you out. Stop it. Be a true conservative and understand to each their own. To each their own. And let's start making money off this. Let's start helping each other out. And one of the easiest ways to help each other out is to go ahead and make sure that when we're in dire straits, that we have the appropriate medicines. So do some more research. Put the funds into research for anxiety and depression right now, because that's one of the big ones, and PTSD. Let's put the research into marijuana and PTSD and anxiety and depression, specifically utilizing our veterans, because guess what? They need it. It helps them. I've seen it. I've witnessed it firsthand. I have somebody that was afraid to call in today, obviously, and that pisses me off. Not the person not calling in, but it pisses me off. The things are so protected that all their concern from the get-go with me was that they would be protected and there would be no way for them to be found out for going ahead and opening up about this. That pisses me off, that they have to run for the hills like that when I know for a fact this marijuana helps them out, it keeps them chill, and it keeps them from having their episodes where the trauma and stress is just taking them over and making them not able to live. But if they smoke, hey, they're normal. They're great. I've seen this multiple times, and it needs to be utilized in the appropriate way. And if it is, our economy is going to benefit. our levels of stress just as a whole in society and our communities around the country, that they'll start getting better. Everything is just going to be a lot calmer and a lot better if we legalize marijuana. Let's just get off our high horses a little bit. Stop trying to make money the roundabout way, where it's also about power and being able to keep power in our own hands or our own group of people's hands. Stop thinking like that, because you're about to be trampled by all the people who don't think like that. Again, I'm a conservative. I'm a conservative, and I don't agree with you racist assholes that are using marijuana as a way to go ahead and keep racism afoot. You say you're not racist. Oh, you have a black friend who happens to be a black Republican. No, you are a racist asshole that goes ahead and thinks that blacks as a whole are mostly whatever. I'm not even going to go into that, because they aren't, but you sit there and think that they are. Stop trying to put power into white man's hands. And believe me, I have a lot of people arguing with me, telling me that I have white privilege all the frickin' time, and my just because of my conservative thought processes, that I'm a straight cisgendered white male that doesn't get it. Well, no, I do get it. I totally get it. I totally get the white male privilege. I totally understand what it means. I totally understand all of these things, and I'm saying it's guys like you who are sitting here funding this whole crazy prison system thing, where this war on drugs makes sense so that you can profit off it and make more money. Come on, we're not blind, we're not idiots anymore. Enough people know about this shit. You're not going to do so well for yourself if you keep it up. Your actual legacy that you leave behind, you're destroying it. You're absolutely destroying it. Most of you live for your legacy. Well, your families are going to have nothing. Absolutely nothing in 2-3 generations when marijuana is going to be legalized and everybody's going to realize the truth. Stop falsifying everything. Stop creating these false stories and jump on the truth train. It makes so much more sense. And, if marijuana has some adverse effects, I'm not saying it doesn't, but if it does, pour the money into the research that needs to be done. And for those of you who are not the legislators that are listening, hey, listen, put your money where your mouth is. Just put it into those penny stocks. That's all you need to do. If we all do that, literally, if 100,000 people across the country do that, you know how much money that is? That's $500,000, just $50. That's $500,000 that goes towards these companies that turn around and profit, and probably a majority of them will turn around and make probably, I would say, tens of millions of dollars, if not more, off that 500,000, because that's the way marijuana, that's how profitable it is. And then it's just going to grow. It's just going to grow and grow and grow. And then that puts it within just a 2 or 3 years maybe. And all of a sudden, we've got all of this money into the marijuana industry. And that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly why it's going to be growing or going legal here. In my mind, I see it going legal in the next... it's going to go legal in the next 5 years. Fully, if not sooner. It might even in the next year. If legislators really jump on the train and understand, and if everybody that is listening can get their friends and their friends' friends and their friends' friends to go ahead and put money into the marijuana penny stocks out there, things will change rapidly, because there will be enough money. Literally $50 for each person across this country that has ever smoked a joint or ever plans on smoking a joint or even stands behind marijuana at all in the least bit. If you put $50 into these penny stocks, there will be so much money there that the lobbyists cannot win unless they're on our side. So go ahead and do that, boys and girls. I apologize. My guest wasn't able to show up today. It's most likely out of fear of retribution from the U.S. government, which is ridiculous. I really do apologize. He was planned. We were trying to catch up, and it wasn't able to happen due to the fear of retribution. It's bullshit. So, boys and girls, that's going to wrap it up for the day for me. I am going to go ahead and step out. If you want to leave something in the comments, I see some of you have commented, some of you have been listening. I am so thankful for you. This is Lion Fist Live. I am one to rant and rave about random shit. I will change it up every week. I'll have a new guest on as often as possible. I have one that was supposed to be on a while ago who's dealing with some crazy stuff. My thoughts and prayers go out to you, sweetheart. You're dealing with some crazy stuff, and your family deserves a lot of prayers. Very disheartened by what's going on there, but much love to you nonetheless. Much love and compassion for you, and hopefully all the blessings that you guys can get right now come your way. You definitely deserve it. And then everybody in Iowa, East Coast, West Coast, everybody all across the country that's listening or will listen to this, I love you all. I appreciate you so much. Do me a favor. Share this video. Give it a like and let people know they need to go ahead and invest in penny stocks, not financially, but so that they can go ahead and get the power in the hands of the marijuana industry. We can get it legalized. We can stop dealing with all the bullshit out there and just get it done, because money is the only thing anybody listens to anymore. Just get it done. I love you all. Thank you so much. I will catch you all later at a later time next Sunday, maybe before if I decide to surprise you. I'm out.
Founded in 1969, Fuji Sports is your #1 source for gis and grappling gear, specializing in superb customer service and high-quality judo and jiu-jitsu uniforms at competitive prices. Fuji Sports is a proud manufacturing partner with many established organizations throughout the world, and is also a proud sponsor of U.S. Olympians, BJJ World Champions, and MMA superstars. Fuji Sports offers gis, rash guards, t-shirts, backpacks, shorts, gloves, and more. Visit fujisports.com to buy or customize your own gear today.
Amazing! Fuck you!
Welcome to Lion Fist. Lion Fist. Lion Fist Live. It's like a lion roars. Duh.
Don't get it.
Bringing you a bunch of random stuff today.
I really don't care. No, really. I don't care.
Keeping things relevant every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific time here on Lion Fist Live. This is Lion Fist, only on iFluxy.